Let's just jump into it, Mark. Like, describe, first of all, tell people who you are, because you're great. And then
Yeah.
what's happening, how'd you get to Poland? What's happening? Give us the
Well,
perspective.
the perspective starts like this. Well, first, I'm Mark Murphy. I'm a chef. I'm one of the judges on Food Network Chopped. I used to have a bunch of restaurants in Manhattan. They're all closed right now. I still have an event space where I do events down in Tribeca. But it was after the Food and Wine Festival in Miami. I was there, and we were there. All the chefs were there. It's sort of like our Super Bowl, and Jose Andres, who started World Central Kitchen. We had a meeting with him. I mean, everybody was there. Tyler Florence, Guy Fieri. We were all in a room together, and he was just talking about the organization and how things were going, and because he likes to keep us updated. And then basically the war broke out, and I had another gig. I went to Tallahassee to do another gig for another charity. On my way home, I was like reading the news, looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to cancel everything. I texted Jose, and I got on a plane and came over here. I said, I'll do whatever you need me to do to help. So I got here about a month ago.
Describe what World Central Kitchen is doing in Poland.
Well, World Central Kitchen it's an organization that helps feed people. I mean, basically, it's a human right to be able to eat. And Jose started this organization, and usually does a lot of disaster relief, hurricanes, earthquakes, and goes and helps out and feeds people in need. I think this is probably the first time they've done it where there's a war involved. So what it is just they have they get donations. They have this organization. They buy food. But it's interesting thing about their organization is they don't just they take donations and they feed people, but what they do is they try to go into communities. The idea is that anybody who's feeding people during times of need is part of World Central Kitchen. We sort of consider it, right? So we're in Poland. I'm like 7 minutes away, or well, not very far from the border. There's kitchens here, right? So you can be a partner. Like, so in times of crisis, they help. They give money. They get takeout containers. They give them like Cambros to be able to put food in, and they sort of partner with all these different restaurants to try to get one. They help pay their staff. They
Mm-hmm.
help buy the food. So they're basically keeping the ecosystem going of that area, or wherever those restaurants, to keep them employed. Restaurant workers are needed if you want to feed people. I mean, there's no way around it, right? And instead of bringing in other things or other people, they're already here. They need jobs. They need to feed people. They need to feed their families too. So it's interesting the way they do that. And here, what happened here, we're in Przemysl. I don't know how to pronounce any of the names over here. It's very difficult. But they set up a kitchen where we're just producing a lot of food, and we have a lot of partners that are taking care of distribution sites, a bunch of the border crossing, some of the refugee centers where people are actually staying. Some are staying for a certain period of time, and then they're getting on buses and going other places. The train stations that are near us, we have stands there basically, and we're feeding people that are getting off trains. Sometimes the kids, a cup of hot chocolate, some warm soup, a little goulash as we're making. Anything a stew is basically a goulash over here. And it's still cold here. It snowed like 3 inches the other day. So and you got to, this is it's the women and children are coming over the border with like a suitcase. I mean, it's the saddest thing you've ever seen. There's no, and they're just coming over the border. Their country's just wrecked.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. I was excited because of the organization. I just couldn't sit on my ass. I was watching the news. I was like, I got to go do something. And I have a skill. I mean, I'm a chef. I can cook. I'm also pretty good at organizing and leading a team. I used to have, 5 restaurants in the city. I used to have about 650 employees. So I know how to organize stuff. And I decided, so I popped in, and I'm here helping out. There's a chef who runs the kitchen, and I'm helping her out a lot. And, I'm probably going to be here, I think, till the 23rd. And then who knows? Maybe I'll have to come back if they need help more. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
I think it's incredible. When we launched the Barstool Fund, actually, Marcus Lemonsis, most of his donations around COVID were going to World Central Kitchen. And I love the concept that you're plugging into the economy that exists today, or the ecosystem that exists today, which is, his real philosophy was, hey, if you can solve for food insecurity, and food insecurity in the world is one of the biggest issues in the world, and you can support the local economy and you can support local businesses in helping to solve the problem, you're really solving 2 to 3 problems at once. And what's so amazing is that you're in the middle of probably the biggest humanitarian crisis of our time, and that the organization and what you're doing, you're helping restaurants, you're helping business owners, you're helping wage earners, and then most important, you're helping refugees who are, just been decimated. The war crimes, what you're seeing happening in the Ukraine is just gutting. And you're helping to give people the meal that they need that's at least going to get them through the next few hours or the next day.
Right. It's amazing. We actually, they've hired Ukrainian refugees in the actual kitchen, because we have like there's a distribution department that has to coordinate with how much food needs to go where. And a lot of these Ukrainians speak Ukrainian, they speak Polish, and some of them speak English. So we've actually been hiring some of them, and it's tremendous to be able to sit there and watch somebody whose husband and family is back fighting a war, and they're here on this side of the border working with us.
Yeah, it's so
Pretty
awesome.
wild.
I was reading an article yesterday. First of all, I think the Ukrainian people are so inspiring. Like it's the resilience and the ingenuity of Ukrainian people is just so staggering. I was reading an article yesterday where one thing happening right now in the Ukraine is that people are collecting scrap metal. They're melting it down. They're using it to, or shaping it into armor. Women are then sewing fabric around the metal so that becomes essentially the uniform that average women, average men are using to go fight the Russians. The ingenuity is so amazing, and the heart. And I think what's so incredible about what you're doing is, like, when I see, at least in the US, like when I see people have Ukrainian stickers on their window, or they've got the flag on their lawn, and I'm like, but what are we really doing to help? And that's one question I have for you, which is, how can people help?
Well, it is interesting because, we have a lot of volunteers that are coming over here, and they have to pay their own way. They find a place to stay, get an Airbnb or a hotel or something. And there's a lot of people that have come over and helped. And it's great that people can take time out of their lives to do that. And at a certain point in the beginning, we had way too many, it was like, slow down. So World Central Kitchen is actually, they have a sign up sheet. You go to their website, and so people can help by signing up. And I'm sure that in the months, because this is going to go on for a while. So, it's all, everybody wants to do it now, but in 2 months from now, we're going to probably need people here then too. And the other thing is to donate. I mean, we're buying food, we're buying tractor trailers full of food. And interestingly enough, they also come to our kitchen, they unload, like you get a truck full of rice, it gets unloaded, and a truck full of other stuff. And then they repack trucks with a little bit of everything. And they're going in, and there's truck drivers going into Ukraine delivering food to different cities.
Wow.
So there's a lot of, money is obviously needed, World Central Kitchen, and it's pretty wild. And an interesting story, I did, when I got here, I did, I do the social media thing, and I did a little video about why I came, and here I was. And I had somebody help me, because I'm not that swift at it, but to do a donation page. And I literally, I put it up, and I went to work for like 12 hours. I came back. I couldn't believe it. The amount of people just on my social media, to date, I think I've raised over $50,000, but it was more about the thousands of comments that I got about support from friends, from, even the friends on Instagram, people that,
Yeah.
all these people, outpouring of love and support for the cause, for the work that we're doing. And it was to me, it was sort of interesting to see in this day and age, to be able to get the word out that quickly. I didn't even expect anything, because I was just doing this because I want to help. It has nothing to do with me or what I do on television and all this other stuff. I just wanted to do this because I wanted to help. And then it became a lot bigger than me. Then all of a sudden I got, Anderson Cooper's, producers were calling for me to do an interview with him, and this and that. And then I started thinking, okay, I have to do things like this, like even talking to you, to get the word out about what's happening here. Because it's not just the physical work of making, hundreds and thousands of meals a day, but it's also about doing what I'm doing now. And I think it's very rewarding for me to be able to be
Yeah, that's incredible. So why paella? Like, how, that is not what I would have guessed.
It's actually, so the shape of the pans are like a paella pan, but they're much deeper. So
Okay.
we're actually not, sometimes we'll make a paella and we put it in a Cambros and it goes out, but a lot of the times it's more like soups and hearty stews and things like that, especially when we're serving at the border, because they might have a child, a suitcase, and they can't really eat. It's better if it's in a cup and they
you
can
just
drink it.
slug
So
it back.
like a great, Well, like a great noodle soup, or we're using a lot of beets and horseradish, go in the borscht direction. We actually try to find ingredients, the things that they understand and like, so because you want to be able to be accommodating, you want something that they understand and that's nourishing.